Oof.
What are you gonna do? Hyperbolic or the main group?
Not the main group. Main group. Um, let me see. I gotta tell these guys to approve me. I gotta find my boy. Brandon Scott always be coming through, bro. Approve my live, bro. Please. Alright, we're just waiting on approval. Damn, man, I look like I'm hot. And it's cold. Boom. Oof. Alright, we're approved. Let me send it out to some people real quick. I'm gonna set my phone down. It says I can't rotate. That's nice. Give me a second, guys. It's myself and Jonathan Rodriguez. We're gonna talk about what makes an event real quick, right? So give me a second. I'm gonna share this live with you guys, but we're gonna dive deep into it on why that post was posted. Let me share this real quick. Give me like 5 minutes, guys. And Jonathan, say what's up, bro.
Is it going, people?
Yeah, Jonathan Rodriguez.
We're not trying to like define or like. We're just trying to set out like a baseline.
Yeah.
For like what constitutes like an event or anything.
Also,
like,
please let me know.
Events, like are all events the same, or like we just want to like have some clarity into like what constitutes an event, like, and that everyone has like a clear view of like.
Yeah, exactly.
What makes an event.
And please let me know the volume was good, because I have Jonathan on my computer right now. So if it's too loud, let me know. If it's too low, let me know. Let me share this to this, and we will be good to go. We'll start it off, because I'll also have this on the channel as well. So I'm gonna get in discussions, and we'll be good. Oh, someone just joined the Discord. I don't know who it is. Oh, Figs just joined the Discord. Okay.
Yeah, I just peeped those last minute.
What's up, fam? Yeah, so we have Anthony Figueroa and Jonathan Rodriguez, along with myself, Eddie Santler, in here. My boy Ben Ferris. Ben, stay tuned for this one, fam. I got you. But yeah, we're going to get into it. Just give me 2 more minutes. I'm going to share this so other people could join. But we're going to dive in. Pretty much the topic was why that post by Daylon was posted. It was a group chat post that I guess kind of got misinterpreted. So he put a vote out, and the vote turned out right. So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna share this one last one.
The vote went like do like 50 plus players events.
100%. 100%.
Like a major event or like a win for an event.
Yep, 100%.
And what's the baseline of that, right? So the first thing to analyze into that is just like, do 50 player events count as a like? We're trying to make at least, cause this is what been happening in the community for the last like week, right? Like they're trying to determine who is the best player and who's the. I don't care to be considered one of the best ones. Although shout out to Danny, because he considers me the best player.
I got you up there. You've been doing solid. But real quick, I'm going to give everyone a recap because I see they're all joining now. What's up, guys? Eddie Santler here with my boys Jonathan Rodriguez and Anthony Figueroa. So we are going to go over that post that went out, right? And pretty much how it started off was essentially, well, I guess it's not a surprise no more, but Friday, guys, there will be an event. Let me not even say that. Just stay tuned for Friday for a special announcement. That's all I'm going to say, right? But I shared it with my team, and there was a whole discussion going on. Daylon is in the group chat, so there's a whole discussion going on what determines a major event from being a major event. And I started off by saying, hey, you can't really say what a major event is, what counts, what's this, what's that, if you don't have a criteria, if you don't have a baseline to say what an event is, right? And that's when things got out of hand, and then the group chat started going left and right. So I have Jonathan with me and Anthony. We're going to start into it. But I'll give off my basic start points, right? So my issue with people discrediting events like online events and stuff like that, you guys got to realize events are events, right? So there's no clear-cut definition on what an event is. people don't say, but most people, a majority of people would say an event is a best of 3 event that has X amount of players, that has X amount of rounds with a top cut. But the thing is, none of that is clearly defined. So before we even went on live, Jonathan and myself went to the rulebook itself. So what we determined, or what we like kind of thought about of being something that's decent that would show true player skill, is if you had at least, for a player to finish and go in the top 8 with at least 7 rounds, it's solid. So we determined, okay, cool, not do it by realistically how many players are in there, but how many rounds there is, right? And Bandai thankfully has a chart for us, right? So in order to have 7 rounds, you must have X amount of players. This is a bracket. In order to have 7 rounds, you have to have between 65 players and 128 players. That guarantees that you have at least 7 rounds and at least a top 8. So that's where we started off. I'm going to let Jonathan go ahead and kick it off and talk about his points on it.
Well, yeah, I thought that was the most elegant solution, because like if you have 7 rounds and then you have to do a top cut, being top 16 or top 8, then you have to win another 3 or 4 games to make it to a total of 11 to 10 wins in a whole tournament. And then I think that's a fair number, because if you're saying that out of a whole tournament you won 9 games, because maybe you lost 1 game in Swiss, and then you got first place after that, then you still won 9 games in a row, and then I think that should be like considered a win, because that's like an event, that's a like legitimate event. Then this person got a win and could consider to count that as a win in like in its resume, like we could say. What do you think, Anthony?
That makes sense. Go ahead.
I definitely agree, because we have to have a minimum. Because the way that I look at it is, coming from other card games, Dragon Ball Super does not have the biggest like pool of players. Like, it's not like we're going to events and we're having thousands of players like you would Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic. So honestly, having that bare minimum of at least fitting in 7 rounds for Swiss and then having the additional rounds for top cut, to me is fair. 65 to 128 players minimum. I think it's fair for a card game like Dragon Ball Super. If we're talking like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, then yeah, like I can understand like, maybe having a more attendance or having more players available for bigger tournaments, I guess would obviously change that. But 65 to 120 is pretty fair in my opinion.
No, I do have a point on that. Like if we compare this game to like cards games like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic, we have to consider that DBS is only 4 years old, 5.
Right, exactly.
So, like the early stages of the game, we could say like at least the first and second years of the game, like regionals didn't have 100 players at all. Like probably even like 40, 50, 60 players tops. And like all these kind of events didn't have that many like high amount of players. And they and if we consider like to Yu-Gi-Oh regionals, at least here in Florida, I know that their regionals go to like 150 players usually. Like it doesn't go to crazy numbers either, and it still is that top 32 player on that list, and they didn't even play top cut, so it's like different. It's still doing the same, and we're probably playing more matches before we're doing top cut in this kind of like events. And if we consider some other games like Magic, they only do top 8, and regardless of the tournament, they only do top 8. And regardless of how many players they're doing, it's just they have more rounds depending on the amount of players they have. But it's only top 8.
All right, so that makes sense. So now that like I said, it's not a definitive thing, but that's a really good recommendation, right? Because a 7-round minimum tournament by actual Bandai guidelines is a lot better than just saying, hey, if it doesn't have X amount of players, it doesn't count. Because honestly, regardless if it's 65 to what would we say, 128, right? Regardless if it's 65 to 128, it's going to be 7 rounds, period. So I guess with that being the basis on the number of players it should have, let's move on to the next talking point of it, on what should be considered an event. This is the highly most debatable thing right now in the community. Does an online event count, or does it have to be an in real life person event to count? Let's start off with you again, Jonathan.
Personally, I don't consider the online events to be. The problem is that they're competitive. The problem is that online events are different. Like they require a different kind of setting. You cannot really know how many players are playing in the same account. Like I could be here with my friend and another friend, and we could all be playing the game, and even advising each other if we want to. And that in one account. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's different things that we cannot regulate or do in online events, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really, and besides out of the events that we had so far, we haven't had best of 3 kind of tournaments or anything.
Mm.
So it's kind of hard. For me, it has to be a best of 3 for sure to be able to count towards
Yeah, that's the next point. Let's stick to online versus in real life right now.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's just the fact that it's hard to for me, it's just the fact that it's hard to monitor and control.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
All right, Figs, go ahead.
Nothing.
My bad, I stepped away for a second. What are we talking about?
So we're talking about there's a bunch of criteria that should determine what an event is, right? So the first thing we talked about was, hey, there should be X amount minimum rounds. We spoke about that. We said, hey, 7 rounds is a solid number because after 7 rounds, you're guaranteed a top 8. So in order to win, you have to win what? The 7 rounds plus your top 8, top 4, and then your finals round. So that's pretty much good. So let's go ahead and talk about now the biggest debatable thing in the community between online events versus in real life events. Talk about how you feel about those, man.
So I don't know. When I feel like when it comes to the difference between the both between the two, is that one, for online events, there's no top cut. So you're automatically limited to the amount of rounds that you're going to have just based on what's available for Swiss and the amount of the cap that they're going to put on for the amount of players that can participate in the tournament. So that right there automatically caps the amount of rounds you're going to play. Mm-hmm. And personally, especially with it being best of 1, I feel like with best of 1 and not having a top cut, that takes away a lot. That takes away a lot of opportunity for players to really go against each other and to really perform, especially, when it comes to, having those additional rounds and prizing. So I feel like that's something to take into consideration. Mm-hmm. I personally think that it doesn't matter what TO is running the event, whether it's whether it's an event by PPG or whether it's a gamers event.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next topic point. Right now, we're sticking to the point between the online events versus in-person events.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Between online and in-person events, it shouldn't matter if PPG is doing the event. It shouldn't matter if Core Gamers is doing the event. It doesn't matter what online, whether it's online or in person, what TO is doing the event. Between the two, in my opinion, the TO running it shouldn't matter. It should just be based on the amount of players, if there's a cap, the amount of rounds, and whether a top cut's included, in my opinion.
That's true. So I'm gonna answer a comment real quick. Eden, that's funny, bro. That's not what this thing is about. That's why we actually came live, because people are assuming this is about us getting salty, saying gamers discount gamers. That's not what this whole discussion is about, right? So what it's about, and you can ask the teammates because they're in the group chat, was how does one say A is an event, but B is the same event, but it doesn't count, right? For instance, how can, let's say, this is what Anthony was alluding to. If I'm at X store, I'm at ABC store, right? And ABC store has 100 players. But during the same time period, there's PPG or an ARG or a Bandai Regional, and Bandai Regional has 100 players. Why does the ABC store not count if it's the same exact tournament? Just because of the name, it doesn't count. That's where this whole thing started, Eden. So, I'm going to get back to the topic now, but good try. Nah, that's not what it's about. Good try, though, B. Good try. Keep chasing that bad boy, D. Anyways, we're going on to the next one, right? Ooh, my boy Martin just joined. What's up, John? What's up, Gabriel? So, moving on to the next one. All right, before we move on to the next one, I want to give some input on the in real life versus online events. So, I hear what you guys are saying, but I completely understand what you're saying, but I disagree. Because, yes, the way the online events were ran, yes, you're right. It's not really a good way to determine, hey, this guy was playing or you're good because you won this. Because, in my opinion, that was an effective way, but you can do an effective, right? So let's say you have web-based cam games. I know a lot of people don't like it, and it's not popular. But realistically, that's how we gotta do it, right? In order to improvise, adapt, and overcome, that's what we gotta do to actually have in real life events for Bandai, from Bandai, because they don't want to do in-person stuff. So if you're doing webcam-based events, and then you have certain rules we're saying your hands have to be visible, you have to pilot shuffle X amount of times or whatever it is, there's certain things you can do to mitigate cheating and stuff like that. You can do best of 3. You can do everything, in my opinion, that you can do in real life on a web-based cam event, like point blank period. It might be really time consuming, and that's why I feel like they said best of 1, because they don't want to have, you seen it, like we started at like 12 o'clock p.m. and it was done at midnight still, or like 11 o'clock. That was best of 1, dude. That's
if it's best of 3, it takes like an hour and 30 minutes.
It'd be like it'd literally be like a 2-day Swiss event, like 100% a 2-day Swiss event. In my opinion, I hate the fact that people just discredit online events. I'm not like Gen Con, yes, the event it ran smoothly. I'm not talking bad about how the event ran, but the concept and the structure of it was poor, right? It was poor in the sense of not the way it ran. Like I said, once again, I give them props. It ran smoothly. It was poor in the sense that there's a lot of players who join just to get those promos and drop. Like these guys were literally, okay, yeah, we're playing, you just get the win. All right, cool. Next round we're playing, okay, you get the win, and they were gone. And that was their intention. They weren't playing to actually play. But now this is why I 100% believe that you can do efficient online tournaments. If this was a cash tournament with no participation, the only thing you get is like a mat like you do on a regular regionals, I guarantee it to you, that same online experience would have been completely different. It would have been like, oh, for instance, right? Let's say Daylon has to conduct his TOP online. For all that cash, you've seen it. Everyone's seen that junk. That's God tier. Daylon's a god. Like he's literally saying, hey, I'm gonna pay you guys your spring break season. It's just free, right? All that money for free, but it has to be online. You guys are gonna take that event serious. It's not gonna be, hey, I'm gonna jump in and play for 2 rounds and drop, because if you drop, you get just what he says. Thank you for coming. Point blank. Period. You're not gonna play just for a thank you for coming. You're gonna play for that cash, and when you're playing for that cash, you're gonna play serious. And if he said certain guidelines saying if your hand drops behind your computer, you get a warning. If it drops onto your computer again, you get a game loss. There's certain criteria you can do to mitigate all the risks that people are complaining about. Because think about it, guys. We can't sit here and cry saying we don't have events, we don't have this. If this is what they feel comfortable on doing, we can do it. We have to give them that feedback though in order to improve it. Like for participation stuff should, in my opinion, shouldn't be like that. You have to play through the entire period. You can't drop. If you drop, you don't get nothing. I had to watch my language. Like point blank, you're guaranteed it. Even if you have no chance of topping, if you drop, I'm sorry, you can get your mat, but you're not getting any cards. Point blank period. You do that, I guarantee it to you, people are not just going to sit there and play and waste their time because they know they're not going to get their cards. They're not going to sit there and play from a 12-hour tournament to get cards, like point blank period. If they're going to play that tournament, they're going to take it serious. What's up, Alejandro? Yeah, that's my opinion on all-in events. Yes, like I said, it's nothing on Gen Con. It ran smoothly, but the format and structure of it behind that players have to play at least 2 rounds to get promos, that was a problem. And for that, it's why it gets a lot of flack saying those wins are not necessarily wins. Those tops are not necessarily tops. I can see it both ways because, yes, a lot of people drop, but those same people who didn't drop, they played it out. But the thing that skewed, and I told all my players when I paid them out, I said, listen, guys, I'm going to help you out. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, I'm the best sponsor. I'm going to help you out, but I'm only going to give you 50% of your payout. They're like, Eddie, man, that sucks. Why is that? I'm like, because in a field of 128 players, after round 2, it was probably like 40-something players. And that's the issue I have because of the way it was structured. After those 2 rounds, you get your promos. You guys have anything more to say after I shed that insight about online versus in person?
No, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
No. It's definitely a fair point, and you do make sense on the way. Like it's because of the times that we have to do online events anyway. But the problem is that the main thing about it is like if we move to the next way, which is best of 3 versus best of 1, which is a tournament. For me to count, definitely has to be best of 3. Because best of 1, like there is so many things that like going first, going second, like will affect a match. Match dependency. Like I mean, what kind of matchup you're playing against? Like, do you have a sideboard against the matchup that you're playing against? Like that all that comes into factor to like make a good run in a tournament.
All right, Anthony, you got anything?
Yeah, and I feel like the biggest thing that I've noticed, and I'm wondering if Bandai's going to take a different approach on how they do the amount of online events going forward, is, as you said, people are not sticking it out past round 2. So,
Yep.
If we are able to at least, enforce people playing out the entire tournament just to get prizing, or enticing prizing to be something that isn't necessarily just based on participation, because the prizing for participation were far better than the prizing you got for winning.
100%.
Like,
You got the older packs, me.
Not even on top of that. The mats are literally the participation mats that you win. They're not even the winner stamp, nothing. Like,
that's true.
They're literally the regional, participation mats. So it's like, you're winning, you really, at the end of the day, it really didn't even feel like winning even mattered.
That's another thing. If they would have made the pricing at least a couple of the participation prizes,
right?
That would have been people would have been fiending to there would have been definitely attention. People would have for those.
Yeah, 100%. People would have played it out. There's no way that if they sat there and were like, okay, well, we're gonna give you, we're gonna give you 5 packs of Championship 2 and 5 packs of Event Pack. But if you win, you'll get 10 of each. Like, if they did something like that,
you made an OD number, B.
People are not going to play that out.
Yeah,
there's no way that people are not going to stick to it and play the whole thing out. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's best of 1 or best of 3.
That's true.
I agree completely.
Let me catch up on some comments real quick. We have Eden. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Days, same thing. ARGs in account. I know, that's rough. But you know what, Eden? ARGs count on. That's what that's literally the point I'm trying to prove. Because back in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's literally regionals. Like, ARGs came around. Okay, cool, you want an ARG. But now I guarantee you, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, those ARG counts top. So that's good. My boy Martine joined. My boy Jimmy. Shout out to my boy Jimmy for bringing a Reboot Gohan and going ham. Shout out to you, bro. I don't think it matters on online versus offline person. I just think it's best of 1 versus best of 3. Exactly. Jimmy, you said it exactly right. In my opinion, online and offline doesn't matter because you can do rules in thingy. If you lag out, whatever it is, it's an instant warning. You do it again, it's a game loss. There's things you can 100% do that mitigate your opponent from cheating. If your hands drop behind the LUT, your opponent calls you on it, it's literally a warning. And the thing behind webcams, you can't lie because it's being recorded. Point blank period. What can you do? Say, no, it's not true, my opponent's lying. Okay, when the match is done, go ahead and show me the game. You see what I'm saying? You're lying, now you're banned. Okay, point blank period, you're out of here. But you're right, Jimmy, on that. What's up, Alejandro? Marcus Houston, but people do the same thing. In person, play 2 rounds, 3. Yes, but Marcus, the biggest difference between online and in person, right? In person, you can play that and get that and then go play side events, go buy cards, go sell cards. An online event, you'll literally play those 2 rounds and you're out. You go about your life. You don't do that. When you go to an event and you play those 2-3 rounds to collect your prize support, bro, you're hanging out with friends. You're doing stuff at the event, my friend. You can't do that in online. So if you eliminate that period, it's a whole different ballgame. But I do understand what you're saying.
And also on that too.
Yeah, go ahead.
How often do people actually pay to travel? Not only pay for gas, flight, hotel, and then decide to just drop round 2 just to get participation prizes.
No, 100%. Yeah, they 100%. They O2 drop. Yeah, 100%.
I saw this a couple of times when I was on PPG. He would just go X2 and then win 7 the next couple of rounds, and then he just makes top 16 last place, and then he makes it to top 4 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's still do it.
That's true. You can still do it. That is 100% true. Eden, what do you pay comparing current? Eden, I can't beat Daylon, bro. Come on, bro. That's not even a question. Casey Campbell, yes. I got you, Casey. But I don't know. I don't want you to get in trouble because you're a judge and stuff. When pricing, all right, so we got the next comment. Marcus, when the pricing for staying and playing it out is worth more. Yeah, it's exactly what I mean. Yep. Scott Avery 0-2 drop. No, I ain't gonna lie. It sucks. Unfortunately, it happens to some people. You're playing in a tournament, you just have bad matchups. You go 0-2 drop. But the thing is, you're really, it sucks to be you. You're 0-2, but realistically, until you're 0-3, you're good to go. It's just what Jonathan says. A lot of times, a lot of players that in top cut start off 0-2 because when you're 0-2, you gotta realize this. You play other 0-2s. When you win, you're gonna play another X2, so you're gonna play another person with 1 win and 2 losses. So if you're a better player, it'll keep going up. If you're undefeated, you keep playing against undefeated. It stacks up. So it's just what Jonathan said earlier. Just because you're 0-2 necessarily doesn't mean you should drop. You can play it out and you can 100% make top cut, possibly even win the event. Extra, you're not making. I ain't gonna lie to you, B. We have Alejandro. Also, online events change the way the deck is played. Say set 10 trunks, for example. In real life, you can peek at the life before revealing it. Yeah. But Alejandro Gomez, that's what I'm talking about, right? In my opinion, you don't use Untap. You don't use Octagon. You use webcams. What they're on, you're going to see this too. Like I told my guys, we're doing actual cash tournament. I'm going to host cash tournaments for them for online webcam events. If they have it, they have it. If they don't, it's not mandatory. But everyone, all my guys and my player initiative guys are going to be, I haven't decided on a price yet. Probably can't tell my wife because she's going to say no. But I'm going to hook these guys up for actually playing and giving you guys some good content. But it shouldn't be on Untap. It shouldn't be on Octagon. Unless Bandai has their... It goes to Jonathan's earlier too, right? Even if Bandai makes their own game, what prevents me from saying, hey, babe, I'm not going to be here. Can you play Dragon Ball for me, please, and just win? Let's say she knew how to play and she was good. Can you just play this and win? There's no prevention in doing it. So I think webcam is the future. We'll go to the next comment. Devin says, pick me up. Bro, we're kind of full right now. I ain't gonna lie, bro. All right, so I think I cut up on all the comments. So let's talk about what defines an event, right? So the first one we talked about. Yeah. So the first one we talked about, how many numbers around should it be? We decided 7 is a solid number because with 7 rounds in a tournament, there's always going to be a guaranteed top 8. So that's a solid, decent, yeah, exactly. So that's a solid foundation, right? So next we talk about in real life versus online. Yes, the way Gen Con ran, like I said, once again, it ran smoothly. I have no problems with it, no problems with anyone who did it. But the structure of it was horrible because there was no incentive at all to sit there and play throughout the entire, unless you were just bored and had nothing to do that day, you weren't gonna play that event, bro. Like, even if you're like the Saturday event, I was 2-0, like literally 2-0. I always said she wanted to do something. I literally dropped. Like, there was no incentive to sit there and play because okay, cool. If I sit there and play, no matter what, I'm guaranteed those participation packs. And if I sit there and play and get her upset, I get a mat and older packs. Like, come on, bro. That's not even worth it, in my opinion. So we decided between online can work. You just have to make the structure of it better. That is what killed the online experience, and that's why a lot of people are discrediting that event. So the next thing we want to talk about is, does an event count in terms of being best of 1 versus best of 3? So we've been starting off with Jonathan, so we'll start off with Jonathan, and we'll let Figs go. So go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I mean, definitely best of 3 because the best of 1 experience is usually, do you go first versus you go second? Mm-hmm. That has a lot to do with it. Do you have a good answer against the deck that you're playing? Mm-hmm. In the main, are you playing that through the whole tournament? And maybe there are matches that is just a dead card. So it's just like saying that a tournament is like someone that won a tournament in a best of 1 environment and just face like match and win first like I don't know, like 80% of the time, and then just like won because of that. Like just I don't think it should be like considered like at least best of 3. The minimum it has to be best of 3.
All right. Before we let Figs go, I have a quick question for you. Let's say it's best of 1 because it has just a ridiculously high number of players. What do you think about that?
No, it's still the same.
Still the same?
Magic has these same tournaments of 2,000 people or so, and they just divide the tournament in different days. First day is 9 rounds, second day is another X amount of rounds, and they play top 10. So, like, the excuses on the amount of players, it's not valid to me.
That is true, that is true. Because you can literally brick, in that one game you bricked, it just so happened that you lost. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, for example, right now in the Semato deck, let's say game 1 I didn't draw.
Oh yeah, if you don't see Zeno, you lost. Yeah, it doesn't mean your opponent's better than you. You just didn't see your Zeno.
During the whole game.
Yep.
I just lost the game because of that. But then game 2 and 3, I saw my Zeno, and then I was able to win.
Yep.
So then that makes a huge difference.
That is true. All right, Figs, let's switch up to you, man. Do you think it should matter between if an event is best of 1 versus best of 3?
I definitely think it should be best of 3. And the only reason why that, like Jonathan was saying, there's so many factors that really matter. Like when it comes to deck building, when it comes to consistency in your games, winning the die roll, losing the die roll. There's just too many things that matter. Like if you sit there and you sit there and you deck build, and you have to sit there and consider best of 1, like you have to sit there and you have to put cards in your deck to either counter your opponent or counter counters, and no one wants to sit there and draw dead cards against certain matchups. Yeah. There's just too many things that make a huge difference in doing a best of one competitively compared to doing a best of 3 where you have options. You have a side deck. You know, you have the possibility of obviously going, first or second, and then, losing or going first. Like, there's just too many factors that just make it so much difficult to really decide on a best of one whether or not you really should have truly won that matchup.
I don't lose game 1 against this matchup, but then game 2 and 3, I have this option.
Yeah,
right.
First
you have side cards, right? So it's like, and it makes sense for them to, despite how many players they have, to be able to do best of 3. Like Jonathan was saying, like. I obviously am not familiar with Magic. I don't follow the scene, but to just know that they can run a 2,000-man tournament online, that means that there's no excuse that we couldn't do the same. Just saying.
Yeah. So I think on that one we came to a general consensus where best of 3 is the way to go. Like I agree for both of you guys because there's just so much luck factor. Because it's hard to say, you know what, this guy's better than me in best of 1, but it's harder to say, you know what, this guy got lucky 2 games in a row, especially since you lost and you went first and he still beat you. You see what I'm saying? So, but that takes out the luck factor. Because if I'm looking at you saying, bro, you just got 2-0, you're like, yeah, man, he got lucky. I'm thinking in my head, okay, game 1, yeah, he may have got lucky because you lost a die roll, you may have brick. But game 2, you went first and he still got lucky. Come on, man, like that doesn't happen like that. So I think that was pretty much solidified. Let's catch up on some comments real quick because a lot of them came by. We have Scott Avery, wife replays videos, bro. My wife is on our group chat. Be like, I had to just watch what I say at all times. Eden says, "Give me a jersey and I'll win for you a real event, bro." I thought you were on Daylon's team. Jason Record, best of 3, yeah, 100%, best of 3. I think that's the general consensus amongst all players because best of 3 allows you to. It gives you a chance. You don't lose just off the die roll. Yeah, you may lose game 1 because you lost a die roll, but game 2 is your chance. And in game 3, it comes to whoever's the best because literally you have your sideboard. It's about strategy right at that time point, right? And deck building skills. Because it's the luck factor gets removed. It's a less luck factor. It doesn't get removed completely, but the fact that you just got sacked off 1 game and you have no way of showing that, hey, this was lucky, you're right. I 100% agree it should be best of 3. Reed Davis says best of 1 is trash. Yeah, best of 3. The same thing, same comments.
Best one has its applications. Like running
like a gunslinger. Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh. So best of 1, I'm not saying it's trash. It's good in certain things. Like let's say on a Sunday, right? Because Sunday we all know that's the last day of events. That's the time that the Top Cup's going on. But Sunday, best of 1 is good because players get to play best of 1 and still leave without staying there all day. So in certain situations like that, it's good. But to the go ahead.
Most of the time, best of 1, you play fun decks also.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
It doesn't have a chance at best of 3, but hey, I can just get maybe some free wins if I go first and the stars align and I get my cards completely fine.
Just terrible. But that's so true though, because how often do you sit there and you're like, okay, well, we're playing the best one tournament online, aggro. Like that's literally how it seemed to have been, like even with all these events going on in Gen Con and PPG. It was literally simply just, okay, well, best of 1, all right, let's everyone play aggro, or everyone play the most defensive deck possible. Like, that's what it seemed like. Just really mattered the most, honestly.
That is true.
With being best of 1 and best of 3, that obviously makes a difference. But for a Sunday, Sunday side events, best of 1, the best thing you can possibly.
Yeah, you get to go home early and do your thing. So we have Jason Ricker's sideboard choice.
That just can't work like that. I agree.
Yep. So, JC, we 100% agree with you. Sideboard actually shows true player skill because it goes into that concept of deck building. Yeah, you may have got lucky, but my deck building skills are better than you. I see what you've done, and it's not going to happen in game 2 or game 3. So, we 100% agree on that. We have Reed Davis even further. But you swap on the play versus. Yeah, that is true. That same thing goes to the deck building skills. Jimmy Sherman, DBS is an online client. That's why I'm not going to lie. If DBS had an online client, yes, it would work, but to what Jonathan's saying, in my opinion, there would still have to be like some way your picture or your silhouette could show to your opponent because they have to make sure you're the one who's playing. You're not getting help from no one. Like, all right, imagine this, right? The players on my team are stacked. Now imagine if you have someone like, I don't know, Jonathan or Figs, that these guys are one events, right? You have someone like that playing, you're playing against them, and you have the entire team behind him. coaching them out. Like, do you really think that's fair? Like, come on, man. That's why, in my opinion, yes, online events can work, but you still need to confirm that you're playing your opponent, bro. Like, yeah, that's just rough.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
that's rough, dude. I'm telling you. Like, you don't want to be that person that loses. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, 100% it will happen. 100% it will happen. I guarantee you probably happened for Gen Con. 100%. What else we have? Best of one for side. Yeah. For side events, 100% agreed. We have Chris. How does Green Frieza win against? You don't, fam. Like, I tell you how you win against Rejects, bro. No. There's a way you can win against Rejects, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. When you signing your match slip, you have to check your name instead of your opponent's and just hope your opponent sign. Nah, let me not say that. Let me not say that. That matchup is auto loss. Even if you have coolers, you're just gonna have some shiny energy because those coolers are never gonna go into play at all. The game's over before then. Even with dormant, the game's over before then, my friend. All right, so we caught up on the comments, right? So we talked about the number of rounds an event should have. We talked about in real life versus online tournament experience. Like, what should be changed? Like I said, like we both all agreed on, online can work, but the structure that happened, that's just neg. Like, you're never gonna get true results. They're gonna be like, those results are gonna be skewed and skewed in a bad way. And then we have the best of 3 versus best of 1. Besides that, I mean, it shouldn't really. All right, the last one, it's the names. This is a huge one, guys. Let's say, I don't know, what's a game shop that's not really like known. I don't know, man. Let's say, I don't know. Let's say, because Toys, remember back in the day, Toys R Us used to run Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments. So let's say Toys R Us runs this Dragon Ball event. Toys R Us event has 100 players. But, like it always happens, there's multiple events on the same weekend. Let's say Core TCG also has an event that same day, and Core TCG has the same 100 players. So, 100 players, that's 7 rounds, right? Same top 8. The only difference is, Toys R Us, since it's not Bandai, they're doing cash right now. They're doing a big dog talk. You see what I'm saying? They're doing a 3K over here. Versus Core TCG, they're part of Bandai, so they're doing the Bandai promos. It may be worth money, but to me, cash is worth more than paper. You see what I'm saying? So just because Toys R Us is running an event and it has the same amount of people that the Core TCG is running, does that mean the winner out of that doesn't count because it's not backed by Bandai, ARG, PPG, or like something like that? That was the biggest issue for me, because a lot of the events that happen, a lot of winners, if you actually look at their events, the people that have multiple, I'm not saying any names, I'm not taking any shots, I'm talking about straight facts right now. Go back, I've been playing this game since the beginning. There's people that claim they have major wins. Their event had 40-something players in it. Their event had 50-something players in it. Now I'm just talking about facts right now. When this game first happened, when those events happened, you can ask Jonathan, you can ask anyone who was at PPG with me. PPG's locals had like 60, 70 plus players. There was even an event that I hosted with Machado. It was called a Players Championship. That thing, I think it had all 5 out of 5 champions in attendance, plus more. Like, we had to cap that event. Yes. Every single champion in Dragon Ball was under one roof, along with every other top player was in there. Like, it was literally insane. That was probably the most stacked non-Bandai major event that I've been to. Like, it just made no sense, bro. Like, you're looking around, it's like, champion on like, literally, you're playing, if you're winning, you're literally playing the champion, or you're going to play another champion, or you're going to play another. That's literally how it was, point blank, period. So that's the next argument. Why does name matter so much if the numbers are the same? Because one thing about numbers do not lie, and that's the next topic I wanted to get on. So let's let Jonathan start on that one.
No, I do definitely agree that even if it's not a renowned tournament, like, still winning 10 games in a row, like, let's say that to make top cut and then to make it to the first place, you have to win at least out of 10, 11 games, you have to win at least 9, because maybe you lose 1 game in Swiss, and then you have to win at least 9 or 10. That's still a really good record for 100%. One tournament. Like, you still won 9 games that tournament, and you got to the first place. So that's still a valid argument to me.
All right.
Regardless of who is in the tournament, regardless of who, you still have to play X1s of the last round, and you still have to play the top cut to make it to first place. So regardless of who was in the tournament, regardless of who, like the players or anything, I still think the tournament counts. It's 100 people. There's bound to be good players in 100 people.
100%. All right, Figs, what you got for us?
I would definitely say the same. It's weird how you look at it, because if you sit here and then to me again, name of events shouldn't matter at all, 100%. Name of the event shouldn't matter, name of the event, but the TL.
Yeah, someone who's running it. Yeah.
Because like if you're looking at it, PPG, whether they're backed by Bandai or not and running their events or doing a pro play tour, people are still going to come out for their prizing regardless.
100%.
It's an event. There's prizing being provided. No one sits there and there's like, it's not very often, I should say, because some people will do this. It's not very often people are like, oh well, core TCG is offering this event. Let's not go there because it's core TCG and there's not going to be good players.
Yeah.
No one really says that. If the pricing and the support is there for the game and they're offering it, whether it's from Bandai or not, and it's appropriate pricing, people are going to show, people are going to play. And as long as people come and show and play, and there's enough players to validate there being 50 plus or whatever the case may be, like Jonathan said, you're going to get a decent amount of rounds in regardless. And if you're going to do well and you can go undefeated, or you can provide a good record from it, then why not constitute it as a win?
100% agreed. Let me catch up on some comments real quick. What we got over here? We got Jason. Yeah, Vajex does beat Vajex. I ain't gonna lie, fam. Let me see what else. Chris says, what counters Vajex hard? I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I want to answer this, but I don't want to answer because I play Vajex and I want to tell you the answer. But I will tell you this: Vajex does beat Vajex, obviously. That's the thing. But Blue, I'll tell you how Blue. I just won't tell you how to defend it. But Blue does beat you. I'm not gonna lie. If you don't have an answer to a Booney, you'll lose, like 100%. Because a proper player, I ain't gonna lie. I played Jonathan on Friday because the first day was Friday for gamers, right? We played a locals because Seth was nice and he gave us TPs. Against Jonathan, it was an even game. Like, Jonathan had no boonies. It was, okay, cool. You could ask him, Jonathan, you was sweating, boy. Jonathan swung. I went down to one life. I'm like, okay, fam. Nigga, I had 3 bobbities.
I only won trunks in that tournament.
Bro, I had 3 bibbities in hand. Jonathan was swing. I was at 1. I'm like, sure, fam, swing, bro. Bro, on that crackback, Jonathan was getting that work, though, on that crackback. But I'll tell you what. Between Friday and then 2 days after, on Sunday, he had those trunks promo. Oh, my God. Bro, I think he went first. Freaking, he did his play. You know how they do. I went first. I did some swings. He defended it. His hand is getting low. I'm like, damn, Jonathan, you about to get tapped out, bro. You have no hand for next turn. Bro, his turn 2, he does his thing. He awakens, does what he got to do. I'm like, bro, I'm about to clap those cheeks. Be like, he does a little draw 3, gets like a little baby hand. I'm like, bro, I got 2 bibbities. Top deck's the next bibbit. I'm like, bro, it's about to go down. Attack leader. Jonathan uses the trunks promo. I'm like, what the shit? You can't attack with anything. And not only did he lock me, literally, you can't clear his board, and then next turn, he'll booney spams you. And you're like, you know what? You're not going to kill me, fam. Like, it's just not possible. I'm about to clap those cheeks as soon as you pass. I'm taking all my life. Even if you're defending, you can do whatever it is. You can defend or just take it. Me, I'm taking it because I live with Bibby in hand. I'm like, I'm about to clap this man on the clap back. Bro, I swing again, he drops another trunks. And you know what he does next turn? Drops another set of a booney. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like, you cannot beat that. Like, point blank, period. If you go against Blue and you don't have the answer, you will get smashed. Like, that's it. Like, Bibbidi is a 1-card combo. It doesn't stop a guy that has 10 plus attackers. That's not even possible. Like, against Black, it's not even possible. There are counters to it. This is a segment I'm going to do starting next week, honestly. I didn't want to say it. I wanted to post about it after I post about the event coming up on Friday. But starting next week, I'm going to sit down and do these one-on-ones, like pretty much probably 2 people at a time on players that play specific decks, right? So like next week, I'll get together with Jonathan and we'll have a one-on-one with Zamasu. So anyone who plays Zamasu could just ask us questions. Well, not ask me. I'll facilitate it, but ask Jonathan questions. I don't play Zamasu. We have Invoker. Now, Invoker, we have a lot of players on Invoker, but the people I'll pick on Invoker will probably be between Justin, Juan, and Figs. Because those guys have been playing Invoker for a while, and whatever it is. But if Justin and Juan wants to do it, I know Figs played Vegito, so I'll put Figs with Marquise, and Figs will be together with Vegito, and he can talk about Vegito, because both those guys are the only one who play Vegito. And I'll tell you what, between the 2 decks, yes, I put them side by side, but Vegito is insanely more difficult to pilot Zamasu. Because I haven't played against Sigs. I played against Marquise. I'm like, damn, this man is solid. And I played against randoms. I'm like, bro, this is free. Like, no offense to them, but the way I go from playing against him to like constantly focus, because he pushes me in that deck. And when I play against other people, I'm like, why didn't she do this in my head? But I'm thinking about it. Marquise has been playing that deck for a while. He knows the ins and outs. So we'll have a sit down talk with them. But for Jax, I've been playing it. Andrew's been playing it. So we'll sit down with you guys and talk. And any other deck besides that is just going to be by viewer request, because those are the 3 top decks. And I don't think anyone. Oh, Gold Tanks. Gold Tanks, I could get the Hill Twins on. That's the only other deck outside of the top 3 that the team plays. And Gold Tanks is the overlying factor. So besides that, let me finish up on these comments. We have Devin, I want events back, bro. Bro, Devin, stay tuned for Friday, bro. It's going to be an announcement, and it's going to be lit. It's going to be I can't say it. I don't want him to get in trouble. But there's going to be an announcement on Friday. That's all I'm going to say. We have Jimmy Sherman descent into the game. Yes, Jimmy, I work out of town Monday through Friday, right? I'm in Tampa so many times. I was going to surprise you guys on multiple occasions, but I come too late. Because your event, I think it started at 5 or 6, and every time I come into my hotel, it's like 5:45. But I'm like 10 minutes away when I am in, not Tampa, in Sarasota. But Tampa, I thought South Florida was huge in Dragon Ball. But according to Robert Rizzi, Tampa's where it's at. Like, they have hundreds and hundreds of players, dude. So we were going to have to go ahead and check out Tampa one time. Jason, yeah, we're going to give out free advice. Is there a new COD trailer out, Marcus? I have no idea, bro. I ain't played Call of Duty in so long. But, yeah, let's get back to the topic at hand with these events, right? Because it's about to be 12. I have to wake up at 5. In my opinion, those are the 4 criteria that an event should have. Like, in order to define it as an event, number 1, you should literally sit there, and it should be at least a minimum of 7 rounds. That's the biggest number you want to look at. 7 rounds, because 7 rounds constitutes for at least 65 players to a maximum of 128, which is a good sample size number, and it also constitutes for top 8 cut. The online versus in-person, 100% we all know online is preferred. I mean, in-person is preferred. But if you have to do online, you have to structure the tournament better. You cannot do these participations for 2 rounds. Like, point blank, you just can't do that. Like, it's going to skew the numbers, and the data you get from it is pretty much useless. Number 3 was the best of 1 versus best of 3. So the best of 1 versus best of 3, that's just, I don't think any players argue it yet. Like, best of 3 is 100% the way to go. It rules out all bias, all luckiness, all sackiness, all that stuff is out the window. Because if you get lucky, you have to get lucky again in the second game. And if you do, hey, more power to you. And the last one is name shouldn't matter. Honestly, that's the biggest joke of them all. Like, just because one store runs it, if one store gets 100 players in it, like I told you, the same identical thing is happening on another side of the coast. Just because it's not back, just because the store has no name, does it mean the event doesn't count? Like, no. And I know a lot of people are referencing to gamers. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stores, period. Because there's a lot of stores. There's a lot of players I know that play locally are not able to travel. And some of those events, I know at least in Florida when Ben and I had those shop events, when, I ain't gonna lie, Marcel and I used to travel to those shop events. We went there was like 60, 70 players at those shop events, because back then, those shop events had promos. We had like those trophies. Those things were lit. So off rip, I could tell you right now, there's some locals in Florida that are infinite times bigger than some regionals that happen in throughout this game's history, 100%. And besides those 4 things, I'll start off with Jonathan and I'll pass it off to Fix to close it out. What do you guys think of those 4 things? Or do you think there should be something that should be added, that should be taken off? I'll start with you, Jonathan.
No, the only thing that the argument that I was debating with Marco, the first champion. I'm sorry, I don't know his last name.
Yeah, Jordan Marco. Shout out to my boy Jordan. My boy running it up with Storm, the sword champion.
The only thing that we were categorizing is like if a win like is more important than the other one, if it's like a national, an invitational, or if it's just a local. Like if we consider it the same or different.
100% not. Yeah. That's a topic for another day. We'll get into that. But 100% it's not. Things that you're invited to, like, there's going to be a lot of flag. Let me clarify with invitations. The past events that happened, the ARG Invitationals, Nationals, and the PPG Invitationals, those 3 events, you had to get your invitation. And the way you got your invitation to those events were you played an event and you placed and you got top X. Whatever top X cut was for invitation, that's how you got it. So those events, if you won those events, which were the first one, shout out to Jordan Marco, shout out to Brian Samuel, shout out to you, Jonathan Rodriguez, shout out to my boy Anthony Hernandez, and the fifth one, who am I forgetting? Ooh, bro, this guy's gonna hate me. Who was it?
Is it not Justin?
Oh shit! How did I forget about Justin?
Wow.
Shout out to my boy Justin. Yeah, those are the five guys that literally but went above and beyond, because those weren't normal tournaments. Those are tournaments you had to literally earn your place in and then get there. Like, it wasn't open to everyone. So I mean, it was only 4. That's why the TOP was open. The first one was open. That's what I forgot about Justin. But those 4 guys that I mentioned. Oh, there is 5. Danny Hype, that's what it was. Danny Hype for the ARG. There was 2 ARGs, 2 Nats, and then 1 PBG. The first ARG was Anthony. The second one was Danny Hype. The first Nats was Jordan Marco. The second Nats was Brian Samuel. And the fifth one was Jonathan Rodriguez. Those are the 5 tournaments that you had to have your invites to by playing. Like, you earned those invites through playing, and you got them. So those champions, those wins are more than these other regional and whatever wins you want to count, because those, you were playing among the best of the best. You couldn't just come in. So I see what you're saying on that. So let's pass off to Figs and see what you have to say, bro, about those criteria.
Nah, I think we mostly agreed on pretty much just about everything. You know, whether it's the TO, whether it's the amount of players, best of 3. I mean, those are things that I feel like should qualify for the event to be, should definitely be more considered when it comes to, playing Dragon Ball Super. But, if we can get, like I said, if we can get excuse my language, if we can get Bandai to start doing a little bit more effort in these online tournaments, and, it'd be nice to be able to, have more recognition for the online events and, hopefully better prizing and whatnot. Because I ain't gonna lie, man, these store championships, they're awful. Compared to online events, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was excited to go play in person and to play, like, set 10 decks, the best. Like, the thing is, like, how are they going to give us set 10 best of 3 matches? Like, that to me made 0 sense at all. Like,
you
barely get enough cards to play a set 10 deck to begin with its color.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, that's a whole other story. But anyways, like I said, I think everything that we agreed on is pretty much how it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. If you meet the criteria, it absolutely should count towards a win.
Right, yep.
All right, man. So I'll read off the last comment. So put down whatever you guys want to say before we head out of here. Jason, no, trust me. Figs, you missed yesterday. Andrew and Jonathan gave their tier list and left out U7. Oh, yeah, you were there. They left out U7 Gohan,
I commented
bro.
on it.
They snapped.
Yeah, it was crazy for that.
Yeah, Jason.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just on that tier list alone, U7 Gohan can handle at least
that's what I tried to tell him.
list.
That's what I tried to tell him. That's what I tried to tell him, bro. Trust me.
I'll for my defense, I haven't played the deck.
You know what's funny, Jonathan? You're a blue player.
Right now, I just have to see it and play to be.
Jonathan, you're a blue player. I guarantee you would love that deck. Like, if literally Zamasu and thing wasn't, you would love that deck.
I used to play it before because I really liked it. Like when they revealed the Vegeta, I think it was.
Yeah, the Vegeta and the Gokus. Like, you would love that deck, dude.
It's definitely solid. Plus, a lot of the leaders on that list also didn't self-awaken, so it was like that comparison.
I'm like, bro, I'll try my boy.
Choosing leaders that don't self-awaken, like, I'm okay with playing a leader that it's the same on the backside as it is on the front, just to be fair.
All right, so the last comment to catch up on is Jason, players at the store over his store name, 100%. But the only reason why, Jason, we talked about you have to have a certain cap size is because I'm not going to lie to you. Like, at least when I'm down here, I work out of town, right? So when I'm down in Miami and I go to PPG, bro, literally, it's like the top. You're just playing top cut already. But we can't count those as events because literally, it's like I think, 11 of us. But literally, all 11 players there are literally just known players that are just top tier players, right? So 100% players at stores matter as well. But at the same time, it's very hard to believe any store that would have 100 players participating doesn't have any known major players into it. Like, that's just really insane to believe. That's why we put, hey, if you got 7 rounds, because the 7 rounds, once again, constitutes for at least 65 minimum players. There's no way you're gonna get 65 casual only players under one roof. It's anything's possible, but that's highly unlikely of happening. So.
No, definitely. There's definitely gonna be like
yeah, 100% you'll have.
It's just there's at least like the top card is bound to know what they're doing. At least,
100%. Yep. All right, guys. So I see no more comments. So let's leave with closing remarks. You got anything for us, Jonathan, before we go?
No, that's it.
Figs.
No, we're good.
All right, boys. Appreciate y'all for coming out. I will have this on our YouTube page, and stay tuned. Like I said, Friday is a really special announcement. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, even though I might have spoiled it a little bit. And next week, like I said, we're gonna have a segment. I'll pick those dates, but next week we'll have a sit down with myself and Andrew. We'll talk about Vajeks. So all the Vajeks players, set your calendars for next week. We'll have a sit down with Jonathan for Zamasu. We'll have a sit down with Figs and Marquise. They could talk about Vegito for you. And if Figs wants to do the what's his face, Invoker, he could do Invoker as well. But we'll have Justin Rios, Figs, and Juan talk about Invoker. So the top 3 decks will be covered. If you guys want to see Gold Tanks, let us know. I'll get the Hill Twins on here because the Hill Twins dominate with that deck. I don't know how, but they're great players and they do it. So if you guys want info on that, just let me know. I'll have to pick up the dates, but just make sure you stay tuned for next week. Love you guys. See you guys later.